That or just trade places with Jamie because Jamie's shirt is not the same color.
Are you gonna be so upset about your ears?
Yes, but it's fine. It's whatever. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's talk about Hallam and Maude. My name is Jamie Smith. I am the DM for our campaign in Tristran. It's a world that I homebrewed, and this is my first time ever being a DM, so it was a lot to bite off, and I'm holding on to those reins, baby.
I am Hailey Jackson Boucher, and I am going to be playing Maude, which is my character in this campaign, who we're bringing to life for this film.
Hailey, originally, when we were first making characters, we were all kind of like sitting in one room together, and everybody was like secretly making their characters. And so Joe and Dom, the two other guys that are in the campaign, they were being secretive a little bit. They were just like, hey, can I see this? Can I see this? She wouldn't even let me see what she was doing.
No.
She's not supposed to keep secrets from me. I'm supposed to know what she's doing. And I would be like, so what you doing? She's like, hold on. Eventually, she showed me that she wanted to play this tiefling rogue named Maude.
Yeah.
And there was one thing in there that she showed me. She said that her dad was a blood fiend.
I've never played D&D before, so.
And I hadn't either. So I was like, oh, cool. I just kind of was like, yeah, that sounds like a thing that would be there. She obviously looked it up, whatever. And I just like let it go. And she wanted the outcome of that to be that she was a type of like demonic vampire,
basically,
essentially. Then I did, after they left, a little bit of research and found out that blood fiends are not in 5e. And so I decided right then that it would be basically that they were like an urban legend. And that she was told that her father was a blood fiend, and she made some assumptions based on the fact that she needs to drink blood.
Right.
Her dad is actually Baphomet. It's pretty dope. I'm pretty proud of that one. She just found that one out in the campaign last week. Last week. Yeah, literally last week.
Big revelation.
Part of that issue is that vampires suck in D&D. They really, no pun intended.
Or pun intended.
So I got in touch with my DM guru, and we kind of came up with a little mechanic of it.
So as I was creating the character, it has all those like prompting questions of like things to consider as you are, writing their backstory and stuff. And one of the things that caught my eye was somebody that you like cared about died because of something you did, and I was like, that's really interesting. And I was like, what could I have done that would cause someone I love to die? So I basically created a father figure. His name is Luke. He was a half elf, and he found me in a market when I was a baby, so I have no idea who my original parents were. And this half-elf basically raised me in the woods, kind of taught me really good morals. So even though I'm a half-demon, he really ingrained good morals and good education and a good temperament into who I was. So basically, I came up with this idea that Maude had this bloodlust, that she would just lose control, something would set her off, she would lose control, and basically have like a berserker mentality where she would have to devour something, specifically if it made her mad. But then as we kind of worked through the character, we figured out that it needed to be more than just like an emotional thing, that she actually was essentially a vampire and had to drink blood, fresh blood every 2 weeks, or else she'd go into this bloodlust.
Basically, not even have control, not even have the possibility for it. So what I essentially did is I've got a guy, his name is Jamal Swinton. Shout out to Jamal Swinton, because he is the reason this campaign has worked at all. And I kind of sat there and we were on the phone for maybe 2 hours talking about what this mechanic would look like. And essentially what we came down to is that, first of all, it needed to have a trigger. So we decided that it was whenever Maude would crit is when she would enter this raid. D&D for dum-dums. Here we go. A crit, you roll a dice with 20 sides when you try to attack something or create an ability check or saving throw. It's called a D20. If you hit a 1 on that D20, it's an automatic failure and you look like a fool. If you hit a 20, it's an automatic success if it's like an ability check or a saving throw or something, or it's a crit. A critical hit if you're in combat. So you double the amount of dice that you roll and your damage modifier. So every time Maude would crit, she would go into what we basically just called the blood rage. Essentially what we wanted it to be is it needed to be genuinely dangerous. Like it couldn't be a tool that she could rely on, like a normal rage for a barbarian, just taking half damage and all that stuff. And it also, like, just having a normal rage and then just attacking people normally, it's like, okay, cool, so she just can't control who she's attacking. That's just like a confusion. It's whatever. So what we ended up adding on is that she had advantage on every attack. Essentially, every attack was a reckless attack for barbarian stands out there. So she would always, have disadvantage on stuff, but also have advantage on almost everything. So when she was also a rogue, and so that was involving sneak attack. There will be days that I haven't prepped, because I work, I have a job, and this doesn't make us money.
This isn't your whole life?
This is not, fun fact. What? I know. It seems like it. It feels like it. Like days that I wouldn't have prepped, the ability for you guys, I mean, this entire Fae realm, they've been dealing with the Fae for so long, and it's such an intrinsic part of the campaign, came from one session that I was like, guys, I texted you guys from work, and I was like, I have had no time to prepare. I'm very busy. I'm so sorry. Like, I don't have anything. And they were like, well, come on, we were really excited. It's D&D day. This is maybe like week 3. The Fae were not really gonna be a part of this at all. And I just like had some, NPCs that I had built up. Like Thea was helping this town try and raise money for the intense like spike in the levy that was coming and was about to be collected in like 3 days. And they were like, hey, we're gonna help these people, how many are coming? And I tried to throw out a number that would scare them off. and I was like, at least 50 soldiers, and you're 3 level 3 characters. And they were like, bring it on! And so again, I called Jamal, and I was like, Jamal, I don't wanna kill them. I don't wanna kill them all. How do I'm not gonna give them an easy fight, but like I need to give them options. And so we like came up with like this insane, there was a Cyclops that was living up on a hill that you guys could have gone and found. There was the Jabberwock in the forest. There was also this little pocket dimension with a bunch of sprites in it. And they ended up going and trying to talk with the sprites to basically lure them into the Fae realm. And they ended up talking to the king. What was his name? Bennicant. I loved playing Bennicant.
He was amazing.
It was
amazing.
It was so much. I think every time we had a conversation, I trapped you guys in something. That has become the campaign.
Yeah. Well, that's actually what led to the scene also.
That's also what led to the scene, you're right. And it was never supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Never
crazy.
supposed to happen.
So actors.
Actors.
Are the way to go.
Find actors, because they help so much. And then you guys ended up, killing him, and during that battle against Bennicant in the Fae court in front of Oberon and all of his his entire council.
That was the first time I crit in battle.
In like 8 sessions. She never once critted, and it was the most frustrating thing for the both of us.
I knew that was gonna be when it happened. Like the most critical time, we're fighting this like Fae lord that should have killed us. Yeah, so in the middle of that's when I crit for the first time. And when she goes into a blood rage, she does not have control over who she's targeting. It's just whoever's closest. And so my teammates, Ken and Thanrin, were the closest to me, rather than Bennicant. So if I had gone after Bennicant, like,
it would have been fine.
It would have been fine, but instead I went after my own teammates and lost complete control. And that is when Hallam saw that happen, witnessed that happening, and came to help.
Exactly. Well, after you guys won, I'm playing Hallam.
Do you want to explain Hallam?
So I kind of took some inspiration from this one video game that I absolutely loved years ago called Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. I didn't, I still used D&D stats and all that kind of stuff, but I really liked the concept of like, these warrior fairies and these different factions and all this stuff. The name Hallam was in that game, although it's not this character at all, but it was just kind of like a little homage to like how much I loved that game. And this guy is the full like war council to Oberon. Well, Oberon's the king of Fae.
Obviously. He's
as soon, I remember the first time I mentioned it, they were like, who's the king? And I was like, Oberon. And they were like, of course it is.
Obviously.
And I was like, who do you think I'm gonna name the king? Are you joking? Essentially, from what you guys understand so far, the Fae are timeless and immortal, especially Oberon. Hallam is in that same vein. There is a mechanic of resurrection that I'm not gonna go too far into right now, but essentially they just continue to live. So Hallam has been the war council to Oberon for thousands of years. And so he's a wise boy.
Got some wisdom.
They're very badass. There was Bennicant, but he was an offshoot lord that was using more like political maneuvering and trying to hide underneath Oberon's shadow so that nobody noticed what he was doing. So
Jamie
he was
has
powerful.
Put no time into this campaign,
None.
as you can tell.
I have what's called an addictive personality. And when I like something, I do it 24/7. I'll be at work talking, like I'm a server at a restaurant, I'll be talking with a table, and in the back of my mind I'm going, so what about their relationship? So if she's 500 years old, then I wonder how many, so if her daughter's 200 years old, then how, that 300 years, did she have other children? And like just running in 24/7 in the back of my head. So read your PHBs, because I'm putting the fucking work in,
Okay.
all right? Cheers.
Cheers.
So yeah, I'll be playing Hallam,
Yeah.
this timeless, near immortal war. He's a general and war master, essentially.
So I am getting to live out a very small dream, which is to play Maude. She's a character that I have completely fallen in love with, way more than I expected. Because she's kind of a menace. She has to eat people to survive, and she doesn't really trust anyone, and she doesn't really care about anybody since Luke. So like, I didn't expect her to be a character I would be so excited to play. But as an actor, I really love physical characters, and so the opportunity to be a different color with a wig and horns and leather armor that we got made custom and everything is very, very exciting.
That's so sick.
I'm
That
so
leather armor is so
excited.
sick.
Shout out to Dreadnuttz Outfitters, who created my full leather armor for this film. Specifically for this film, he made the entire thing by hand, just by like some pictures I found on Pinterest that I liked. He made the whole thing, so love that guy.
Huge shout out to him.
Huge
Honestly,
shout out.
Yeah, the fact that you have genuine custom fit leather armor for just this fun little short film to like live.
We're just doing for fun for you.
We're just doing it for fun. Like this is just for fun. And she got a full like it was like we had a genuine costume designer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so yeah, in the actual session that we had, originally Maude fought like 4 nights. Well, it was one.
Yeah, it was,
two.
it was 1 and then 2, and then it was a troll.
I fought a troll?
You fought a troll. You 1v1'd a troll.
Yeah, I did. God, Maude said.
Which is great because in the third session, or the second session, the 3 of them fought a troll to save a little halfling boy. His name was Busby. So you actually fought a troll and almost died, 3 of you, and then you, during this training session, just to like really prove how far Maude had come, 1v1'd a troll after taking out 3 animated suits of armor. So essentially what we did is we re-rolled the entire fight, but because of, we don't want to get 6 dudes and a troll.
Yeah.
And try to, could you imagine the CGI troll? Yeah.
Film.
This is for fun.
This is a for fun film.
So I just buffed the hell out of an animated suit of armor.
You gave it 140 hit points.
I think 140 was the total. Yeah.
Which Maude has 47.
We have a legit night.
Yeah, so we're in Idaho, and there's like actual night fighting leagues, and so I did a little Googling, which was actually so hard, and a lot of Facebook posts, Instagram posts, everything, just being like, if you know somebody who's into LARPing, who's into doing these fighting leagues, anything like that, please like hook me up, let me know. Luckily, it was through an acting Facebook group in Utah that I posted in, that they sent it to the head captain of the fighting league. He lives 5 minutes from my house, which was just incredible. And he was originally going to be in the film, but he ended up getting injured in one of his fights, because they go hard. They like actually fight each other. So he was going to be at the original night, and he sent just like a video of him fighting people, and I was like, yeah. Good enough. And then he got injured, and so someone in his fighting league is actually going to take his armor, and he's going to take his role instead. But yeah, these dudes literally every Thursday night when we're playing D&D, they're over
beating each
sparring.
other up.
Yeah,
It's basically the same thing.
it's basically ours is like a mental game, and
We're just like we're just like
We're
cerebral. We're like
intellectual.
cerebral
We're
about it. And the rolls were just so perfect.
it was perfect.
Like she could not hit him.
Come in,
1, 2,
and he just
3,
kind of like glances off
4.
like that. He's gonna fucking yeet. With the pommel of his sword or hammer or whatever the knight actually has on the deck.
She just kept rolling low, and then she hit the rage.
Yeah.
And like I was so blown away just as we were doing it. The like narrative dice of the whole thing, like
It
she
was
just couldn't get it,
perfect.
and then she like literally was getting frustrated in real life, and then critted.
I had written the script already, so it's just like a little 2-page outline of
Yeah.
what happened in the session, basically, except we combined kind of the 3 nights into one fight for this. And so I already had like the emotional beats of like what Maude is going through, what Hallam is doing because of what we had done in the session, and then it happened just perfect as we were rolling the dice. Like
it was genuinely mad. The dice gods are real.
They're real.
The dice gods are real.
It was magic. So all the hits that you see in the fight were rolled for, just like you would in a session. We rolled for every single hit. Everything happened just as you'll see it.
The damage that was being done to both of them was tracked. Like any damage that she takes and any hits that she's taking, we were actually counting out hit points for. I was rolling damage. And then she crit at this absolutely perfect time. Literally, we were choreographing along with it, and we choreographed her getting knocked down, right? She rolls, and I can't remember, you had advantage for some reason. I can't remember what it was. And she rolls and hit like a 19. And she was like, and I was just like, just see if you crit. Just see if you crit. Crits. It was perfect.
Yeah,
She's on the ground after being knocked down, which is literally what she wrote in the script. We choreographed it, didn't know that the crit was coming. It comes, and then she just obliterates this dude. It was insane. It was so cool to watch.
Yeah.
And because of that whole, advantage on every attack thing that we had with the Blood Rage at that time, she was getting sneak attack every single time.
Yeah.
So she's in there with short swords, just it was crazy. It was really cool.
Just like what? I'm sorry.
Sorry. So. Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, that's how it went.
It was almost as intense as that. I just, it's not going to come through on camera, obviously.
Right. When I was a child, when I was 12, this orc boy, half orc, was my bully, like in the local village. He was always picking on me because I was a tiefling, so anytime we went to town to like buy food or go to the market or whatever, this kid always had it out for me. And so at one point, Maude loses her bloodlust and killed him. And so then the whole town was in an uproar. This whole village lost its mind and came after me. And so Luke, being my father figure, defended me, was fighting off like a dozen dudes by himself, and he got killed to protect Maude. And so that is like her big trauma. They burnt the forest down to try and kill her and basically just smoke her out. So she got out of the fire and basically ran away, and then has just been like hunting monsters for a living since. So that was like her big emotional moment. So as you'll see in the film, there's 2 little flashbacks that are kind of odes to that and what happened with Luke. And so this moment was kind of a big emotional moment for her because she had not lost her rage since then. She was able to keep it under control for like 10 years, 13 years, or whatever it's been. Yeah. And so this first time when she lost it in battle with her friends was a very, very big deal for her. She was so shamed and upset that she lost control. And so for Hallam to step in and offer to train her to make it something that she could control and use as like an actual tool was a big progression in her growth.
It just gave me so much dopamine listening to you talk about it. I mean, I'm poking fun, but it's the campaign genuinely does mean so much to us. There have been so many times that people are crying around the table, and
it's emotional. I think also because we're all actors, we're used to stepping into the shoes of someone else, and so we had this session. I don't know, 4 sessions after what happens in this scene, where I actually got to go back to the ruins of my house. And
the entire forest burned down, so it's just like
it's
nothing
just
but
ruins.
a
It's just
left.
the bricks and some of the burnt ashy wood is like left. You can basically see the outline of where the house like was. And it's the first time she's gone back to this village since she's grown up. And so that, not only is that emotional, but So Luke died the day of her birthday.
Yeah.
She goes back to this house, and in this box, she notices that this box didn't burn. It was like a chest. And so she opens it, and there was a note that said, "Happy birthday from Luke," and it was the cape of the bat, the cloak of the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And that was her gift. And I, at the table, just bawled. Like, I did not expect to have such an emotional reaction.
Oh, dude,
to
you
this
were
character.
crying before that. That's the craziest
No, that's the
bit.
thing.
Like, as soon as I said the trees look younger here because the forest burnt down,
immediately triggered.
like I just watched you go, and it was so. I was like, oh, this is good.
I was completely just in Maude's character, and so then we're seeing this house, and then I find this gift that he never got to give me, and oh my gosh, I was a mess. I was a mess for like the rest of the session.
And the note was like, I want you to be who you truly are. I don't want you to feel so ashamed of how you look and what your background is. You are my little angel. And Luke wasn't racist. It genuinely, the campaign means so much to us.
It does.
And it's to be able to do this and like bring it into the real world is such a treat.
Yeah.
Like I'm so excited.
Yeah, like putting on the armor for the first time and being like, this is what Maude wears every day.
She sent me pictures of it, and I was like at work. And I like sprinted out of the back room and started showing one of the chefs that also plays Dino, like, dude, check this out! Oh my god, look at it! It looks so good! And he was like, that looks so good! And I was like, I know!
So yeah, we're very excited, and thank you guys so much for watching and participating in our story. I know this is not at all like a complete story. We really just wanted to do a fight scene in character, but that's why we wanted to do this video, so that you kind of have some backstory.
Some context for what's actually happening.
If you're out there and you're a D&D nerd and you're like, that looks like a D&D thing.
Yeah.
Here you go.
You got the mechanics behind it, you got all of it.
Yep.
Now you know.
Yeah.
She's not a barbarian. She's a rogue.
Partially now.
Well, now you are.
Now
she got a level of barbarian from this battle. We should probably tag that onto the
Emotional beats. That's how.
It's not just about XP.
Yeah.
It's about character growth.
Exactly.
All right? Milestones. That's where it's at. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Chance, what do we call that? All right, guys, that's a wrap.
That's
Nice. I should have done here.
We gotta get it professional.
Oh yeah.